G'day, legends. It's Warnie here, coach of the Warn Dogs, and I wanted to have a little bit of a look at one of my favourite resources. This has been something I've wanted to do for a little while now, maybe a bit of a package of all my favourite resources, but this is becoming basically the GOAT and the one-stop shop for all your fantasy needs. I still use plenty of others. Fan Footy always gets a bit of a run. Chad's DT Live as well. But this is really where your pre-season research and definitely in-season as well will come to it. Now, this is Daily Fantasy Sports Australia, so dfsaustralia.com. If you're watching this, you're probably pretty familiar with it, but just wanted to go through this and show people what I do, how I use it, and I guess some of the things that you might like to just explore. If you're new to it, then you're going to bloody love it. All right, so let's have a look here. This is the front page of the site and explains a little bit of what's going on, but the main thing to look at is up the top here, and that's this tab here that says AFL. Obviously, there is a W component to it, and there's a live scoring here, which you can use during when games are on. So let's click on AFL and let's look at the homepage here for the AFL. So plenty of stuff going on, and it actually is plenty of stuff. Like, you need to have a good look through and see what you can find. So the key ones that I'll go to, so I'll be a bit all over the shop with how I do this, is let's start with the player summary. Now, this is something that I definitely use almost every day, I would think. Comes up as Rory Laird there. Let's look at a player. Let's someone like a Zach Merritt. Ooh, Zach Merritt. So you can type him in, bingo, he'll load up now, and we'll see what we can get from him. So once he loads, there he is. I do love all the little photos there from their past, so Morts has done an awesome job sourcing all of those and getting those happening. Right, career averages. You can have a look through, and it does show here, including finals as well. So you'll be able to look on the FP column, so that's fantasy points. That's there. And you can see how good Zach has been. Basically, well, he's 100 plus because that there 2020 is COVID. So BCV times by 1.25. He is a massive there. Now, other things that you can see, and I could go through them all, but maximum points, score, points per minute is always a nice thing to see. And if you're writing articles quoting how many tons that they had and stuff like that, each year is good there. But lots of things there that can help you get a little bit of a look. And obviously the CBAs came in, so that's centre bounce attendances, draft Doctors Legends. Thanks, Steve, for starting that off. We've got some data there. So for the last 4 seasons, as you can see, with the CBA percentage for different players and how they might change a little bit too. So that's something that is great when you're looking at things. See how they go against opponents. Bit of Calvin's captain's research there. He will definitely use that. But then you've got their game log, which is pretty cool to see. So if you're looking at some players, and Merritt's probably not a great one to do this with, but actually let's find a good player for that. Let's do good old Chestnut, James Jordan. There he is. James Jordan. So some things that you can see and how I might use this as part of my work and my research. So you can see VFL scores pop in here. So he played some VFL games last year. So they're highlighted there in the orange. You can see their scores. So he had a 149. He had a 158. 105, 96, 122, 120. That's, 2022. You can see the years on the side. That's what he did last year. So last year, played 5 games, averaged 126. So it actually does some of those averages for you. So you don't need to get the calculator out or be writing stuff down. So that's handy. But some of the things too, you can see as here where they were selected in the team. So you've got some stuff, but the important ones are those sub ones. So let's go through his AFL games and when he wasn't sub. So, that's actually not very pretty there, being on the bench, and from 60% time on ground, not good. And he did get injured in that game there as well. But let's have a look through these where he wasn't a sub. And you can do a little bit of work and a little bit of research to see that. Where am I? Down there. That's about where we need to go. So I averaged 60.5 from his 11 games that weren't sub-affected. But, you can take some scores out. That one there, 29. You can take that out. Oh, he got injured in that one. Take that one out. So it's 67. Now, when you compare that to what his average was there for the season, so 2023, it was a 49.1, which is actually what he's priced at too. So that's an important figure to know that, there's a fair bit of upside. So that's how you could use that. I do like, clicking on those and you can check out what they're doing. Some of those vests are very handy to look at. You can click on these and see heat maps, what they look like for games. So, we can go back there. Right, let me go back to our front page. Oh, this is a very important pop-up that comes up here, supporting. We'll get to that towards the end, but if that pops up, make sure you support. I always donate every year and buy Morts a couple of drinks, a few drinks even, to get going. All right, so that's the player summary. Lots of cool things there to have a look at. In the middle here, round by round stats. So fantasy points, this is not a bad thing to be having a look at some clubs. You just get a nice little overview of players. Colour coding helps because it gives you a little bit of an idea of a low score and stuff like that, which is important, especially when you're looking at players' averages, and you can see what goes, because then you can click on the player and go, Matt Crouch, 40 there. Yeah, right, okay. You can go back quite a few seasons as well, which is cool. And obviously you can click across the top here, the different clubs. So if you wanted to go to West Coast, there it is. Having a look at that. So that is the fantasy scoring there. And Supercoach as well. CBAs, this is the winner that you can be having a look at if you want to see these as a club and see what they look like. So a good one here might be checking out Brisbane, and we're thinking about Hugh McCluggage. So Will Ashcroft in the guts there for a fair bit. So he averaged 44% for the year. Now, Hugh McCluggage was 42%. But you can sort of see what happened here. So he's got all these blues. That went up a bit. Okay, so his CBAs went up. Now, yes, you can go and calculate those yourself as well to have a look at that, but you can get a nice visual to go, he was the benefactor. He was the one that got a bit of more midfield clock through that time, if that's in the CBAs there. All right, so CBAs there, they'll get updated weekly as well, so they're cool. You can click back through the different years. Kick-ins, same goes. You can check out these bad boys. So there's our Crows, Brodie Smith. He kicked it in 58 times last year, played on 46 times, which is a 79%. You can look at some dudes like Chase Jones. He was a good boy, good Tassie boy. 17 kick-ins, played on every single time. But you can see how that looks and see how that might have changed. And you'll get a 0 if they played but didn't kick the ball in. So Brodie Smith wasn't used in any of those, but you can see against West Coast there were, what have we got, 3, 4, 5 behinds scored in that game for them. Don't see that all the time. So that's the kick-ins part. Again, in this middle column, ruck contests are really cool. This is something that is great when you're looking for that solo ruck to see how much they're sharing. That's important along there. See how that's changed sort of over time as well is a good place to be looking. And the fantasy market share, which is something that's come into vogue a little bit. You can see how that looks. Won't spend too much time there because that's probably a bit bigger thing than I wanted this to be. Matchup summaries. So detailed player performance by team versus opponent. So looking at this here, and you can see what they're looking like with those recent games there. So the matchup history, you can go, right, we're on the Crows and against Brisbane or against Carlton and so on. Okay, so that is pretty sweet to be looking at. So you can dive deep into those, especially when you are looking at some of those like captain stuff or any other things. If you are playing your draft, if you are playing DFS, that's what that's all about. A few other things, won't go into too much detail. You can go and check out these and have a click through yourself. Just here, defence versus positions, really cool. So this is handy. This is not taking it away from Cow's Scale of Others because he's a little bit more than just, it is stats, but he does take into a few different things into account. Like this does, you can get the last 10 games, the last 5. So here you can see a key forward against Melbourne might struggle, but a key forward against West Coast, surprise, surprise, is up a fair bit, so up 12 points. So the easiest ones up against GWS, they were pretty tough there. Interesting. All the way through. So you can check that out. Obviously, this is last year's data, which still Cow's Scale of Hardness is as well, but it is that will evolve as the season goes on too. So you can start making some decisions around that. So in this little, block here, you've got some different matchup things and all those. So then you get a bit of a season-long ticker, which helps you understand stuff because you've got all those different positions. I should have mentioned that before, but you've got those rather than just fantasy positions, it's the roles of the player. So when they're classified as these different positions, so like a general defender rather than a winger defender, like a half-back, because that's probably where you're looking with those guys for some of them. All right, so that's where we are at. Now, this is a very handy little thing too. In the state leagues, you can check out basically season averages and some good information there. So let's go on. Look at Flanders right at the top. But I've got my boy Jackson Binns. This is why I picked him up and spent way too much money on him. But he played 17 games in the VFL and 116.7. So I think last year I saw all those numbers and it looked like there was a spot there possibly for him. So I was happy to spend about $250. Now he's basement. Hopefully he gets a game at some point. But yeah, he was dominating, as you can see there. So he had 1500s. 7 over 120. Had a massive season. So that's VFL. And of course, you can go back and have a look at all the different state leagues there, including our NAB Fantasy. So that is your Coates League. If you want to find players from that, I reckon that's probably enough because you can go and explore. There's some things in season like the fantasy top 1,000. Sorry, some stats on them, and then also the live scoring. As you can see, this little ticker up here, so you can check this out. So this was the grand final, and you can see some nice things here. I really like this as a way to watch it, and a way to, I guess, understand some things because you get a few little extra things across here, which I wonder if that changes when it's live. It might do. But yeah, that's a sweet little thing. So DFS Australia, it is the GOAT of fantasy research websites. Go and check it out. I think you'll enjoy playing around with it. If you anything you find, let me know. Give me a tweet or something that you like, or whatever. But give Morts a follow too at DFS Australia. He's an absolute legend of the fantasy community. I've met him a few times, which is cool. I even had a beer down at the old TRC here at Launceston with him at one point. But yeah, go and check it out. And as I said, go and support. So there's a support us button and you can buy a coffee. So I normally go and swing in a few of those because it saves me so much time and it keeps evolving, and he does it, for the love of it, and we absolutely love Morts with what he does. So make sure you do that. Head to dfsaustralia.com and you'll be able to find plenty of stuff that will take your fantasy game to the next level. I think that's something that I just love, and I will keep using and all of that. All right. I'm going to try to do some different things like this on our DT Talk YouTube channel. Might be things like websites like this. Might be other things. I want to do something about, some settings about how to set up your draft leagues and different things as well. So make sure you subscribe. Jump on there. We've got lots of things that'll float through. So, yeah, thanks for being a part of it. And what a preseason we've got. Don't forget also to hit up our patreon.com/DT Talk. Check that out. Big preseason, and then in-season was epic last year, and we're taking it up a notch or a few this year. Good on you, Morts. Love your work, and love your work for listening in. See ya.